Week 15 of the NFL season is one of the most craziest, wildest, incredible weekends you will ever see in your life. Week 15 just bananas all over the place. So we had a Thursday game, we had 3 Saturday games, of course a bunch of Sunday games and Monday games. It's just ridiculous. We're going to get into it because at this point, we learned more and more about who's making the playoffs and who's not. So back it up to Thursday. Last Thursday, the Niners went into Seattle. Brock Purdy, I mean, he might be a thing here. He might. I know he's just doing enough, but I've been consistent when I've been saying like the 49ers going to be okay because the sum of the parts around him is greater than basically any obstacle they're going to go through, and he doesn't do too much. He stays within himself. All he got to do is just be at least Jimmy G, and he's doing that. He might actually end up being better than Jimmy G for them, but we'll see. But the Niners ended up winning 21-13. Niners are 10-4. Seahawks, who has been winning the division here for a while, but has been reeling as of late. They're 7-7 now. Playoff hope's still alive, but they need some help. Saturday, history was made. The Colts were up 33-0. The largest lead, giving up in a game and losing, was the Bills and Oilers in the playoffs. I believe back in '92, and the score they was up by 32 points. So yeah. Colts was up 33-0 at halftime. Colts ended up losing 39-36 in overtime. So the biggest comeback in NFL history happened to Jeff Saturday on Saturday. So however you want to slice it and dice it and pull it. Jonathan Taylor went out with an ankle injury early on in this game. Mr. Empty Calories Kirk Cousins, who I call, but I mean, he threw for 460 yards. I can't deny that. And they actually won the game, even though it was looking like empty calories. But yeah, nevertheless, the Vikings are 11-3. Colts are 4-9-1. You could probably stick a fork in the Colts at this point. They're done. This Ravens and Browns game, I thought it'd be a little bit more scoring, even with Tyler Huntley, the quarterback for the Ravens, but nothing. 13-3 was your final score. By Lake Erie over there in Cleveland. Browns are 6-8. Ravens are 9-5. Deshaun Watson, a $161 and a touchdown. Nick Chubb, 99 on the ground. J.K. Dobbins, 125 on 13 carries on the ground. And a lot of people who have Mark Andrews on their team still is lackluster, especially without Lamar Jackson. Only 3 catches for 31 yards. Yikes. Bills and Dolphins. This actually was a good game. It was supposed to be a snow game, a blizzard, a whiteout, or whatever you want to call it, but that wasn't the case. Snow didn't start coming down to the last 5 minutes of the game, something like that. But nevertheless, yeah, we had ourselves a good one. The Bills kicked the game-winning field goal at the end of the game as time expired. Bills are 11-3. Dolphins are 8-6. I believe the Dolphins lost 3 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Bills are still the number 1 seed in the AFC. As we go to Sunday's game, now, the Eagles and the Bears, first off, I was at this game. It was cold. I cannot express the levels of cold there are in that one day, but temperatures at 22. I looked at my phone. It said it felt like 7 degrees outside. It felt every bit of that sitting in that stadium at Soldier Field right next to the lake. It was cold. It was cold. But that's the first time I've been to a game in 10 years. Literally 10 years. And shout out to my wife for surprising me with that. That was awesome of her. Anyway, so Eagles end up winning 25-20. They're 13-1. My Bears are 3-11. Hey, we at this point about to secure a top 5 pick. I'm happy with that. But so Jalen Hurts when I was watching the game, he threw 2 picks. I'm sitting here like I was confused. He did have 3 rushing touchdowns. But I guess the biggest thing from this game is the fact that Jalen Hurts did hurt his shoulder. I did see the play. He was laying on the ground for a second before he got up. I'm like, is he all right? But eventually he got up and kept it moving. But on that play, that's when he hurt his shoulder. So his status for this weekend's game against the Cowboys, which is very pivotal for them and the Cowboys, his status is up in the air. So I think there's a pretty good chance that he doesn't play. But yeah, other than that, Jalen Hurts, other than the 2 picks, he was pretty sensational to me. Justin Fields, he was electrifying. He had a run that looked like it was a touchdown. That would have been spectacular, but he stepped out. But anyway, Justin Fields did his thing. Great experience. So yeah, keep it moving. Saints, Falcons. This was, if I'm not mistaken, Ritter's first start for the Falcons, but as expected, they ended up losing 18-21 to the Saints. Both teams are 5-9. Both teams are still a game out of winning their division, believe it or not, at 5-9. Lions and Jets. Lions actually went on the road and won this game 20-17. Yes, I call him the Disney Channel quarterback, also known as Zach Wilson. He got the start because the great Mike White was out. But, Wilson didn't play too bad. Actually, 317 yards passing. I didn't expect that. 2 touchdowns. I didn't expect that. 1 pick. I at least expected a lot more. But nevertheless, he was slinging the ball around. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Lions have won 6 out their last 7. They're a half game out the wild card spot. Jets are 7-7 as well. Moving along, the Steelers went into Carolina and took care of business. They ended up winning 24-16. Not too much to take away from this game, but the fact that the Carolina Panthers are still a game out of first place as well. We're going to keep it moving. So the Cowboys was up quite a bit in this game. I think they was up at least 17. And they ended up losing in overtime. 40-34 to the Jags. What a comeback in this. So, a couple things. Cowboys, had they won and, went into next week, their odds of winning the division would definitely be a lot better than what it is now. So, more than likely, the Cowboys going to end up with the 5th seed and going to end up playing the winner of the NFC South as the 4th seed. This is exactly what's probably going to pan out here. But, Dak, 256 in the air, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. CeeDee Lamb had 126 yards receiving, but Trevor Lawrence, he is definitely coming on in the last few games. 318 in the air, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Zay Jones had 3 of those touchdowns, along with 6 catches and 109 yards. The Jags are 6-8. The Jags control their own destiny of winning the AFC South. Basically, if the Jags win out, they win the division. And as disappointing as the Colts have been, extremely disappointing as the Titans have been as of late, and the Texans being the Texans. At this point, I want to see it. Trevor Lawrence, go out there and win those last 3 and get in the playoffs. We want to see it. And speaking of the Texans, they gave the Chiefs a scare like they gave, the Cowboys a scare last week. Chiefs won in overtime 30-24. Chiefs are 11-3. Houston is 1-12-1. Patty Mahomes only had 5 incompletions the whole game. 336 yards, 2 touchdowns. And so Kansas City tied with the Bills. Bills got the tiebreaker, so that's going to come down to the wire. Cardinals and Broncos, the game featuring backup quarterbacks. Broncos and that defense showed up at Mile High. They ended up winning 24-15. Just know that Colt McCoy, who was the second string quarterback, did get hurt. So Trace McSorley came in for the Cardinals in the second half of the game and definitely went downhill quickly. One thing to note, Latavius Murray, 24 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown. So he was definitely busy in that affair. Titans and Chargers. This here was a very good game as far as scores staying close. Came down to a game-winning field goal by the Chargers. They ended up winning, like I said, 17-14. They're 8-6. Titans are 7-7. Like, the Chargers' pass defense is the Titans' pass defense is the greatest. The Chargers' run defense isn't the greatest, but yet, Justin Herbert took advantage. Derrick Henry, I guess he did to a certain extent. He had 104 yards on the ground. I expected him to at least have 150. Justin Herbert did throw for 313 in the air, but he threw for 2 picks. So I expected a little bit more scoring, but nevertheless, Chargers are keeping pace in that division. Bengals and Bucks. So the Bucks was up 17 points at one point. It was 17-0. Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken, scored 34 unanswered points. The final score was 34-23. It was definitely a tale of two halves. So, if I'm not mistaken, if I watched that game, the Buccaneers turned over the ball 4 times in the second half or the third quarter. I think it was at least 3 turnovers in the third quarter. It might have been 4, but it was definitely 4 turnovers in that second half. Joe Burrow, 200 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Chase, Higgins, and Boyd each found the end zone as well. They're 10-4. Buccaneers are 6-8, leading the division by 1 game. Now, the craziest ending you will ever see in your life, I'm pretty sure at this point, you probably saw highlights in which people are calling the dumbest play in NFL history. So, the Raiders end up winning 30-24. Now, my 2 cents is it shouldn't even have to come down to this because I guess the touchdown that tied the game per se for the Raiders should have never counted. The replay clearly showed the wide receiver having 1 foot out of bounds. I don't know what the ref was looking at, but they ruled it a touchdown, even though clearly he was shown out of bounds. So, yeah, Keenan Cole caught a 30-yard touchdown with 32 seconds left. Patriots get the ball back. Final play of the game. I think it was a draw play to Ramondre Stevenson, who, ran up the middle, got a lot of yards, and then, a couple of defenders was in front of him. He lateral it back to Jacoby Myers, who at this point, instead of going forward, he turns around, runs a few yards backwards, and then throws it backwards, trying to throw it back to Mac Jones, which ended up way short because Chandler Jones, he threw it to the wrong Jones, picked it off clean or caught the lateral, whatever you want to call it. Runs over Mac Jones, like he literally runs over Mac Jones, and then ran to the end zone to win the game. I cannot make this up. I watched it live. I think most of America did. Sitting there in disbelief. I have a few New England Patriot fans who are beyond upset. I would be too. Between the quote-unquote touchdown and how that transpired. But nevertheless, Raiders are 6-8. New England is 7-7. One of the dumbest plays you'll ever see in your life. That's worse than a butt fumble. That's worse than any double doink. My gosh. Sunday Night Football, Giants, Commanders. Giants ended up winning 20-12. Saquon Barkley definitely did his thing. And Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones actually played really well. from the eye test. Saquon had 87 yards rushing and a touchdown. Giants are 8-5-1. Commanders are 7-6-1. Commanders are the 7th seed right now. I think the Giants are the 6th seed still. But if Washington loses another game here, it's a couple teams waiting to leapfrog them for sure. And then last night's game, Rams go into Lambeau Field and take an L here, 12-24. Green Bay 6-8. Rams are 4-10. So yeah, that's your Week 15 recap. And I guess as far as playoffs are concerned, Bills to 1, Chiefs to 2. Like I said, they're both 11-3. The game behind them is the Bengals. They're 10-4. Tennessee is 7-7 at the 4th spot. Baltimore is 5th at 9-5. Chargers 8-6 as the 6th seed, and the Dolphins are the 7th seed at 8-6 as well. You have New England and the Jets 7-7 there. Jacksonville, who can still win the division, they're sitting at 6-8. Raiders, Browns, Steelers, and I guess technically the Colts are still alive in the AFC. In the NFC, Philly is 1. They just got to win one game or the Vikings to lose one, and that's a wrap. Vikings are 2 at 11-3. Niners, they clinched the division. They're 3rd spot at 10-4. Like I said, Buccaneers, whoever wins the NFC South is going to be the 4th seed. Dallas, they're the 5th seed. They're probably going to be locked in the 5th seed unless something tragic happens. Giants are 6, Washington 7. Seattle and Detroit are half game back at 7-7. Green Bay sitting right there 6-8. They need some help. And the only reason why Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta still eligible because the NFC South is that trash this year. That trash. So yeah, that's your playoff update. It's going to be, well, on Thursday we'll get into it, but it's going to be a lot of Saturday games on Christmas Eve, a couple Sunday games on Christmas Day. Definitely going to be very exciting times around the holidays here. All right, so yeah, and then lastly, I know it's I guess, yeah, it's disturbing news that they came across the airwaves either yesterday or the day before, I forgot. But former NBA player Amari Stoudemire, I guess, got arrested for, quote-unquote, punching his daughter and drawing blood. So I don't know the full details on it, and I'm not going to judge the entire situation. I just know it's very, very unfortunate. I just know the man is 6'10", and I guess from the optics standpoint, you know, being that big and I guess hitting your daughter, you know, from that standpoint, it's not a good look. And so, you know, it's definitely a different age. Definitely different times on, I guess, disciplining your kids, per se. But I guess at the end of the day, I mean, being that tall, being that big, you know, and hitting this definitely comes with, you know, different consequences for sure. So yeah, I just hope that situation gets to a quick resolution and everybody can keep it moving. But all right, so continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio and the No Offense Network. Follow at JGoodWithSports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thursday, I guess we will preview. We'll definitely preview some games. Get into it because we are less than a week away from Christmas. So I hope everybody's got their Christmas shopping done. Hope everybody is staying warm, especially up here where I'm at. And man, it's cold. Stay safe. Because we know there's some loonies out here during the holiday season. And we don't need that extra drama or attention or energy. So nevertheless, until next time, you all definitely have a good one. Peace.